This is so important. This is one of the easiest ways. This is one of the easiest financial pitfalls to avoid. But this will devastate you for years. I'm talking about it could devastate you for your entire life if you get this one thing wrong. Thank you for clicking on this thumbnail. You could have been anywhere in this YouTube universe, as big as it is, but you're rocking with me and I truly appreciate that. For those who don't know, I'm Rico, and on this channel, we help you elevate to the highest version of yourself possible utilizing the 3C philosophy. That's confidence, character, and of course, charisma. If that sounds good to you, do yourself a favor, man. Go ahead and show that like button some love. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Turn on bell notifications. Come join this 3C lifestyle, because I can tell you, it's just different. So today I want to talk about something that's extremely important. If you're on your grind, you're out here getting it, trying to elevate to the highest version of yourself, this topic here is extremely important. Something that they really don't cover like they should in formal educations. A lot of times we get wrong information from our family, friends, people who love us, and it could really set you back if you don't get proper information on this one subject. So today, we're gonna talk about something that's extremely important, and that's finances. One thing that could absolutely kill a man's confidence is his lack of finances or financial literacy, and that's something that a lot of us, including myself, took a little while to understand. You know, my family didn't come from money, came from very humble beginnings. I don't know if I did say this, but I used to be homeless at 4. So when it came to finances, not only did my family not have a lot of guidance on that, I also got a lot of false information because they were fed false information, and you know how that goes. Today we're gonna jump into it, baby. We're gonna talk about finances. What I wanna do is I wanna help some of you possibly make better decisions now, today, to affect the future you so you can live your best life in the future and look back on these decisions you made today as the biggest reason why financially you got your shit together. Because you can't be a part of this 3C lifestyle if you're broke. You can't. You can't do it. Sorry. And there's one thing that I'm going to talk about a little later on in the video you definitely don't want to miss out on. This is the biggest thing that could usually derail or really set you back. Whether it derails you or not, it can set you back years. And it's one of the easiest financial pitfalls to avoid. We'll talk about that a little bit later in the video. Stay tuned for that. So we can't talk about your finances without obviously talking about income. The money you generate from the services that you render. One of the biggest myths about income, how to generate income, is that it's only one way. Trade your time for money. We go to work, clock in, clock out for lunch, clock back in, clock out for the end of the day, wash, rinse, repeat. We believe, and we've been taught for the longest time, that that is the only way to make money. And the more time you put in, the more money you're gonna make. And what I'm here to tell you right now is that that is not the only way to make money. As a matter of fact, trading time for money will never get you rich, will never get you financially successful, won't even get you financially independent, to be real. So right now, let's talk about how you generate your income. There's 3 main factors in determining how big your paycheck is. Number 1, the size of the problem you solve. Normally, your paycheck is determined by the size of the problem you solve on a day-to-day basis. So let's say you're bagging groceries, right? You put the cans at the bottom, put the bread on the top. That's the size of the problem you solve on a day-to-day basis. We can all agree that that problem is not that big of a problem versus, let's say, how to run a country or how to manage a Fortune 500 organization. Those problems are a little bit bigger than how to put cans at the bottom, bread at the top. Not to say anything wrong with that, but just understand that the reason why they don't get paid as much is that the size of the problem they solve is not as big. The second way your paycheck is determined is the amount of monetary value you bring to that marketplace by the actions you do on a daily basis. So for example, this is a big reason why if you walk into a financial institution, the tellers are usually the first people you interact with. They usually have one of the most difficult jobs in the bank, but they don't get paid as much as, let's say, the banker, because the banker brings in more monetary value to the financial institution than the teller does. The teller actually costs the financial institution more money than the bankers because they don't bring any of the money in. They're not opening the accounts. They're not doing that. So that's the second way that your paycheck is determined, by how much monetary value, not emotional value, but monetary value you bring to that marketplace. The third main way your paycheck is determined is how many other people can do what you do. Are you a specialist? Do they have people that they can replace you with like that? That is the big reason why an anesthesiologist gets paid more than most surgeons get paid. Because the anesthesiologist Everyone can't do that, and they are definite specialists. They can't do any surgeries without the anesthesiologist present. That is one of the most important careers in the medical field. That is why the anesthesiologist, who isn't responsible for actually doing the transplant of the heart or opening the chest cavity or things like that, gets paid more than the person that does. Simply put, you want to increase your income? Real simple. Solve bigger problems every day. Bring more value on every transaction. Has to bring more monetary value to that marketplace. And become a specialist. Learn more. Get a skill. Develop those skills to where you're not easily replaced. So grow your income. That's number one. And here's a little tip. Here's a bonus tip for your income. There's a saying that says, service to many is the path to greatness. Break that down. Service to many is the path to greatness. If you serve more people, whether you have a product or service that you're offering, whether it's a problem that you're solving, you get that out in front of more people. You serve more people, you have no choice but to grow your income. Second thing I want to talk about, which is extremely important, and a lot of us don't learn about until we fuck it up, is credit. It is extremely important for your financial health for the long term to make sure your credit is on point. The reason why it's important to have good credit, for one, bad credit means you're paying more for the same stuff. Also, nowadays, you could even lose income opportunities because your credit's bad. There's some jobs that actually check your credit to make sure your credit is good. Your credit score, in certain ways, is a direct reflection of how good you keep your word. Now let's talk about how you can get better credit, because there's some myths out there on what does and does not build credit. For the younger viewers out here, just to let you know, the only thing that could build your credit score is if A, you borrow money, and B, you pay that money back on time. So, in other words, getting a cell phone does not improve your credit, but it can hurt your credit if you don't pay the bill. Utility bills do not improve your credit, because even though they run your credit for those things, you're not borrowing any money. Remember, once again, what are the two things? You gotta borrow money, right? And you gotta pay that money back on time. Those are the only things that are gonna help boost your credit. Everything else can hurt your credit, but not boost it. Got me? All right, bet. Here's a quick example on why credit is so important for your financial health, because you're just gonna be wasting money if your credit's not good. And I'm telling you, the majority of Americans have bad credit. So don't let anybody shame you because your credit is bad. Their credit was probably bad too. And the only difference between successful people and unsuccessful people is the things that they know. They were probably taught, whether they knew it or not, about credit. If you weren't, it's okay. Do not beat yourself up. You still have time to fix it. I'm gonna give you a quick scenario on why you need to make sure your credit is good, or you're just gonna be wasting money. Let's say you go out and try to get a car. You get your new whip, whatever, you feel good about it, you go run your credit. Person A has good credit, right? They have what America would determine good credit. So they get this $25,000 car with a 3% interest rate. Person B has shaky credit. Their credit profile isn't as strong, whatever the case may be. They may not have a good credit score, new credit, low credit. So unfortunately, they go get the same exact car, same exact trim, same exact color, same exact year, same exact model, same exact price, $25,000 for that car, but their interest rate is 21%. Person A's interest rate is 3%. Person B's interest rate is 21% for the same exact car. They both get the same loan term. They both get a 60-month loan term. They finance the car for 60 months, 5 years, right? Person A with the 3% interest rate, because their credit was stronger, their credit score was better, only pays about $2,000 over the course of the loan in interest. So with tax, fees, licensing, and interest, they probably pay around, let's say, $29,000 for that $25,000 car. Person B that doesn't have the strongest credit, the credit's a little shaky with the 21% interest rate over the course of 5 years, pays around $15,000 in interest over the course of that loan. Same car, pays another $15,000 in interest alone, and the total cost of the vehicle is around $43,000. Person A pays around $29,000 with tax, license, fees, and interest. Person B, solely because of that credit score, pays almost double for the car. For the same exact car, same exact year, same exact model. That's just a quick example of why having a good credit score can save you so much money and have you live just a better lifestyle on less income. Also helps you get better approval rates for apartments, better rates on home loans, business loans. So having a good credit score and being credit responsible is so important. There's tons of information all over the place. I'm not gonna get into this video today. I may make another video on how your credit score is broken down and the few different ways to build it up. But right now, there's tons of information out there on YouTube, on the internet. Do your research on how to build your credit and why it's so important to make sure you guys have good credit, okay? Save you so much money in the long run. Another thing I want you guys to consider, this is so important. Pay attention. Pay attention. If you get this one thing wrong, it could ruin your financial life. Trust and believe. Children. I'll say it one more time. Children. It just amazes me how people do not associate having a child with a financial decision. Yes, it can be a blessing, and the act of giving birth, what you women go through and what you put your bodies through, is just amazing. It's unfathomable. We appreciate you for that. But it is a financial decision. On average, there's a study that shows the cost of raising a child in America from birth to 17 is almost $250,000. About $223,000 from birth to 17 on average. We're talking about housing, insurance for the child, medical expenses for the child, daycare, food, clothing, extracurricular activities, everything like that on average brings the cost from birth to 17. And we're not even talking about college. Let's say you pay for college. We're not even talking about college. Fellas, if you out there getting it in with these females, that's cool, man. Do your thing. Wrap it up. Wrap it up. Stop shooting the club up. Stop getting lost in the sauce. If you are not financially stable enough to take care of yourself, why are you bringing children into this world as of right now? Love has nothing to do with it. Fellas, listen to what. Love ain't got shit to do with bringing a child in this world that didn't ask to be here, and now you're struggling because you didn't understand and you didn't have a plan to bring this baby into this world. I know things happen, but I'm gonna keep it all the way real with y'all. I'm gonna say this stuff. Listen, this is Uncle Rico here. This is your big cousin here talking to you. Let me explain something to you. Y'all don't gotta shoot the club up every time. If you don't wrap it up, first of all, wrap it up for health purposes primarily, because you can die out here from going into the wrong vagina. Wrap it up, all right? For two, understand this. It is a 4% chance on getting a woman pregnant if you do not ejaculate inside of her. If you do not shoot the club up, the odds of getting her pregnant, even without a condom, is only 4 out of every 100 times. And the only reason why it's 4% is because sometimes seminal fluid can contain semen. Like the fluid that the little clear, I'm not gonna get into it, I don't wanna get banned or whatever, but do your research, you'll understand what I'm talking about. It is a very, very low percentage. You can avoid it, that is my point. I don't understand why people believe that it's just okay to have multiple children and then you wonder why your money ain't. Let's not talk about child support. How many athletes have we read about, fellas, that we look at the cost of them having a baby? We can go on and we can make a video on that, just on that alone. So please be careful on who you're choosing to engage in these sexual acts with. Women, you too. That's why your body count matters, women, because whenever you guys have sex, you are risking the chance of pregnancy. You are risking the chance, okay? So just remember that. A lot of people don't understand. From birth to 17 years old, on average is around $223,000, almost $250,000. Do you understand if you invested that amount of money in an interest-bearing account for 17 years, how much that would be worth? You are throwing away probably $1 million worth of potential earning, potential money by having a child unprepared. Nothing wrong with having children. You got to leave a legacy. I get it. We have to populate the planet, 100% understandable. But make sure you have a plan. Make sure you understand that you do it responsibly. Having a child is a financial decision. I've had family members that have asked me, Rico, why you ain't got no kids yet? They asked me this in my 20s, early 20s. Rico, why you ain't got no kids yet? When you gonna get me a grandbaby? And I go, let me ask you a question. What would you do if I pulled up here in a Lamborghini? and you said, that's a nice car, son, how much did you pay for that? Oh, it's about $250,000. I have an apartment, I don't own a home, I don't own a business, I don't make over $1 million a year, but I just bought a Lamborghini. At that time, when I was in my early 20s, I probably was making around $60,000 a year. So I pull up in a Lamborghini, and my mom is like, why did you buy this Lamborghini? Why are you spending $250,000 on this Lamborghini? Oh, it's okay, Mom, they gave me 18 years to pay it off, it's no problem. She would look at me like I was an idiot. That is what you are doing. Just because they give you 18 years to pay off this Lamborghini doesn't mean it's a good decision. Does that make sense? You have to be responsible in the decisions you make. Wrap it up. If you can't wrap it up, just don't get lost in the sauce, fellas. I'm not telling you I'm telling you to wrap it up, please. But if you don't shoot the club up. Trust and believe. Women, you guys have birth control options. You guys definitely don't have to get pregnant just because you have intercourse. Just saying. Children can really set you back decades or even a lifetime financially. Be very responsible when it comes to that. Another very important thing that a lot of us don't even learn about, or maybe are a little too intimidated to even start, is investing. It is so important to get knowledgeable about investing. We're not saying you have to go out here and be Warren Buffett or anything, but just have general knowledge about investments, because with inflation, saving your money will never get you ahead. As a matter of fact, having all your money in just cash, it's a depreciating asset, because the dollar today will not get you as much as it got you 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. It's still a dollar, but it will not get you as much. On average, investing properly, whether it be investing through real estate, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, EFTs, crypto, whatever the case may be, on average, investing smarter has always beat inflation. At least stayed on par with it. Understand this, if your money's in a savings account at the bank, it's not growing, it's not doing anything. Let's say you took that money and invested it into a fund like the S&P 500, an index fund. Standard & Poor's 500, if you don't know what an S&P 500 is, do your research, Google it, find out what that is. On average, the return on an S&P 500 investment every year is around 7-8% since 1930. So on average, it's around 7 or 8%. And there is a thing called compound interest, which is like the eighth wonder of the world. And I understand investing could be really scary to people who have never heard of this concept. Sometimes you think you have to be rich in order to invest. It's quite opposite. You have to invest to be rich. There has never been one person in the history of the world that has gotten rich solely by saving money. Won't happen. You can't beat inflation. It will never happen. The majority of people who acquire riches, they do it through investing. Whether it be real estate, stock market, bonds, whatever, they invest. Maybe not bonds, but they invest. You get my point. And just to give a little quick example of how compound interest is the compound interest. Whoo, boy, I tell you, that is compound interest. If you know anything about investing, compound interest is a godsend. I'm gonna give you a quick example on why all investors are in love with the concept of compound interest. Let's say you have $100 and you take that $100 and you invest it every single month for 20 years into an account. Let's say that investment account pays you out about 7.5% interest annually. There's a lot of investment accounts that can pay you out 7.5%. I don't have time to get into them right now, but you can definitely do your research. They're easy to find. They're all over the stock market. There's a lot of funds that can pay out around 7.5% interest annually. You take that $100, that's all you have, $100. Invest it every month for 20 years. So at the end of every year, you've invested $1,200. Over the course of 20 years, you have about $24,000 you've invested. Because of that compounding interest at 7.5%, that $24,000 investment is worth over $50,000. It is more than doubled because of compound interest, and all you put in was $24,000. Most 401ks are kind of doing compound interest right now. There's a lot of fees associated with those. We can get into them later. But just understand, this is why financial literacy is so important. There's So many books you can get. You can get Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, The Intelligent Investor, If You Can. I think it's called If You Can. Yeah, If You Can. Last name is Bernstein. I forgot. William Bernstein. Like, I'm telling you, there's so much information you can go out there, and a lot of it you can get for free. Go to Barnes & Noble. Last time I checked, they don't stop you from reading the books while you're there. If you don't want to buy the book, go in there every day and just read 10 pages if you want. Whatever you have to do, educate yourself, make better decisions so the future you could look back on the decisions you made, and those good decisions will compound. You'll be living your best life, and you'll be grateful that you made these decisions today. You know I couldn't let y'all go without fragrance of the day. 1 Million Lucky by Paco Rabanne. Got to put a dent in this, boy. I've been using this juice. So the 1 Million Lucky is a flanker of the original 1 Million by Paco Rabanne, one of the best-selling fragrances ever. This 1 Million Lucky is just amazing. It is sensual, it is sexy, it is alluring, it is inviting. Top notes, you have this beautiful, juicy plum note that just really is a key player on the top. Then you got that citrus as well on the top. Those ozonic notes really make it light, airy. When it catches the wind, it's just amazing. Then you got that sexy, beautiful honey and hazelnut in the middle, and then it dries down with a little bit of woods down there. You got that amberwood, you got that patchouli. Just a great fragrance. I'm telling you, fellas, I'm telling you. I got a homeboy who came to check my fragrance collection out. He was like, yo, man, I need to know what's new, what you got. I just brought down my fragrances, let him test out what he liked. Smelled 1 Million Lucky, sprayed it on himself, went home to his girl, and his girl literally was like, what do you have going? We gotta get it right now. They went and got it. She saw me a little bit later. She was like, yo, Rico, thank you. Thank you for telling him this 1 Million Lucky, because he got lucky that night. He got lucky. I'm telling you, I can't promise you might get lucky, but it's a good indication. It's in the name, baby. 1 Million Lucky by Paco Rabanne, my fragrance of the day. With that being said, we've come to the end of the video. Once again, I want to thank you guys for staying to the end of this video with me, rocking with me. Don't forget, if you're new, hit that like button, show that like button some love. I'm telling you, it really helps the channel out. Costs you nothing, means everything to me. Also, subscribe, turn on bell notifications so you don't miss any of this content in this 3C lifestyle. Go ahead and follow the Instagram. It's going to be in the bio below. With that being said, I love y'all. I'm out.